In the name of my ancestors, peace forever and always, and welcome to another edition of the Reality's Temple on Earth Internet Ministry. Of course, I am the gatekeeper or the host of this particular program, known here on social media, whether that be Facebook, YouTube, Vimeo, Daily Motion, and perhaps many other places. Wherever you may find me, I am known as the mighty Angel Snub 7. I am your brother and hopefully your friend, Taalik Ibn'rad. Before I get into our subject, I would like to address the questioning or the status of my mental instability. There are persons who are new to the game and they run around YouTube and Facebook or wherever they think that I may appear, trying to warn the people not to listen to Angel Snub 7 because he is insane. Well, I would like to just take a few minutes to address this issue probably for the last time. As many of you know that have followed this ministry was started in late 2007, early 2008. And when I first came to YouTube, of which was the first format or social media place, however y'all want to word that, it's the first place where I decided I wanted to express myself. And the very first thing that I ever said on social media was that I was unjustly labeled a criminal and insane. And I wanted to speak to the World Wide Web, tell them of this injustice, this evil that was done to me for over 10 years. I wanted to tell the world about how fake psychiatry is. That was the very first thing that I done when I came to social media. But then, after speaking on that issue for a second, then I began to turn towards that which I love, and that is speaking for our people who are the descendants of slaves born in America, having dark skin, the injustice and the continued harassment and oppression of our people being or living in this nation called the United Snakes of America for the last over 300 years. I want to speak on that issue. And as long as some believed I was pro-black, I never said that I was pro-black. I never said I was black conscious or a black Muslim or a black this or a black that. I simply was speaking in behalf of a people who needed a voice to speak for us because we are of the voiceless. I never said because I'm saying this because we're black. But it was assumed that I was, and it is still assumed that I'm one of these pro-black, black conscious, Afrocentric type persons, and that I have grown out of and have never been since the creation of this ministry. But as long as I spoke in that type of manner, I was embraced. However, when you begin to question black conscience, when you begin to question Afrocentricity, I guess that's a word, when you begin to question black supremacy and all this black this and this black that, and you question these black conscious teachings in a manner, and you bring to them questions, examination that they cannot refute, then when you said that you were unjustly accused of being a criminal and you were falsely accused of being criminally insane, then these same people who would support you because you spoke in behalf of people who have been oppressed, which are called black or Negro or African American, then they say, I see why you crazy. I see why you crazy. Because you don't agree with these numerous pro-black, black conscious, Africanized, Hebrew Israelite teachings. It's so many of them. It's just countless. When you don't agree with that, and when they learn that you were in a mental institution for 10 years, then they say, I see why you crazy. Now, these are the same people who believe a spaceship is in the sky waiting to come down and save black people. These are the same people who believe that a man can walk on water and snakes talk and burning bushes talk. These are the same people who they say they can come up out of their body and fly around the room and go back into their body, and all kinds of other stuff that these people believe. They are so filled with African spirituality with all these different claims. But I am the one I'm the one who is insane. I have never seen one of these people outside of their body flying around a room. I have yet to see a spaceship come down and do anything for black people. All this stuff that y'all believe in. I'm the one insane. So here these same people, they call the white man the devil. They call the white man or the Caucasian pink races, they call them the greatest deceivers and tricksters, devils, Satan, Lucifer, and all this other stuff. But yet and still, when a black man or anybody who disagree with them, if the races, the same races, the pink races that they say are liars, but if they label me criminally insane, the liar, then it's true. All of a sudden, the greatest liar, the greatest deceiver, the greatest trickster, all of a sudden, what they say when it comes to me, because you disagree with what I say, now all of a sudden, everything the deceiver, Satan, the devil, Lucifer, everything the racists say, suddenly it becomes true in my case. That is so hypocritical and fake and woo. Now, the good thing about this, they say every bad dark cloud has a silver lining. And of course, when you are labeled criminally insane, how dark can your cloud get? But there is a silver lining to this. Excuse me. The silver lining in this situation is that, yes, I have been labeled insane. True. At the same time, now I want you to listen to this. At the same time, I have been studied by my enemy, not by my friend. These people are my enemy. I have been studied by my enemy for 10 years. Now, if you really want to be truthful, and some of y'all talk about you stand for the truth instead of a smear campaign, then look at the truth and seek the truth, all of it, not just what you believe helps your smear campaign, which, as you will see, does not help you, because I have done nothing, I have said nothing that no one in their right state of mind could see that could be called insane. I have a right to disagree with anyone, anybody that's out there. You have a right to disagree with me. Everybody that disagrees with me, I don't go around talking about you insane, you crazy. I don't say that. You have the right to your opinion. But I step it up one level, because I'm not bringing an opinion. I'm bringing us reality, and I'm bringing us facts, as factual as you can get. And that's the difference between you and I. Excuse me. But now, again, back to the silver lining. Now, what makes this beneficial to me? Unlike you, I have been studied by my enemies for 10 years. Now, if you got the report, and I will be happy to send you a copy of the report for $60. It's a lot of material, and you can see everything they wrote about me. I don't have to lie to you. I'm going to tell you what is written in the reports about me, because I have been studied and examined by my enemies, these psychiatrists, for 10 years. What do they have to say about Angel Snub Nub 7? In their writings, not my writings. This is what my enemies have to say about me. First of all, they do not report that they view me as a liar. If I was a liar, a deceiver, somebody like that, they will put that in that report. They don't write that about me. They don't show in the report that I spread gossip, or I try to smear somebody's reputation, or slander nobody. They do not report that I am a racist or a racist wannabe, and I talk the same way I do on social media every day. But I had to interact with Caucasian people. The enemy is a Caucasian people, but I always respect them, even though what they were doing to me was unjust and wrong, and they knew they were telling lies about me. But yet and still, I was able to continue to respect them and give them the respect that they don't deserve. I got along with my enemies, even though they were Caucasian or pink people. Now, so they don't report that I have a desire for drugs or alcohol. I respect all the women that was around me. Matter of fact, they were having a hard time trying to find women that would treat me wrong, because they like their staff to treat the patients, their victims, as horrible as possible. But because I knew how to interact and with the females, that didn't happen. I got along with everybody. How is this possible? But I'm so criminally insane. Their excuse for my good behavior was that I am a very intelligent, insane person. I'm so intelligent that my intelligence hides my insanity. That's how they explain my good nature. Now, what does this tell you? What should this tell us if my enemies tell you that I'm not a liar, that I don't slander, I don't gossip, and things of this nature? What do they tell you when you are confined with an enemy that is trying to find everything they can negative to justify what they have done to you? What does that tell us? Now, in conclusion, when it's all said and done, the very same devils that made me mentally ill in 2007, they took it all away. I have no diagnosis. It says in the last writings by the races that this person no longer has a mental illness. This person has no need for medication and all that other nonsense. If you want to talk about somebody, tell the full story. But see, y'all are like your slave master. You liars and you deceivers and your little children. You don't like nobody speaking against the little trash that you've grown to believe in. Because when it's all said and done, it is trash. It needs to be thrown away. It is no good for you. It is no good for me. It is no good for us as a people. And then you don't like me because although I am very respectful to you, I present it in a manner that it is trash and should be thrown away. I'm sorry. Not sorry for what I say, but I'm sorry that truth hurts, but truth must be told. I am so mentally ill. Tell the true story. I am so mentally ill. However, I have been cleared by Homeland Security. How many of you have been cleared, your name cleared by Homeland Security? So, with that said, that's all I'm going to say on that issue, because those who try to smear my reputation, smear my name, try to call me insane, you only make yourself look bad. But when you challenge the real truth, anytime you do that, you will lose. And you try to smear and defame the reputation of his messenger, although I am not perfect, and I never claim to be perfect or holier than thou. I never claimed those things. However, all my life, I've always loved what you call a righteous type lifestyle. I always loved it. So I've always tried to carry myself in that manner. So I don't need a reward to behave in what y'all call a righteous manner. I don't need to go to heaven. I don't need to be called a king or a queen or a god or none of that stuff. I am happy just to be me. I am happy just to live in a peaceful type of environment. I don't need that. So when you challenge real truth, and when you challenge this messenger, either what I bring to us or me as a person, you will lose. Because who are you to judge when you have so many skeletons in your closet? Who are you to judge when so many of y'all are nasty and vile and disgusting? What are you doing behind closed doors? What is your history? I have no shame to tell you that I was labeled a criminal and insane because it was done falsely. I have no shame in that. And you can prove, because they could not prove that I am such a thing. They lost, and you will too. Now, let us go on and leave that nonsense behind, and let us go on to win and stop being losers, and let us stop the gossip and the slander trying to bring other people down. They said, well, you do. No, I do not. I challenge your opinion. I challenge what you call as true. And if we stand for truth and we stand for what is correct, then we should embrace that truth. But y'all don't. You reject it. So you fight the real truth when it comes to you, because you've grown loyal to fairy tales and delusions and fabricated lies. If that makes you upset, I'm very sorry. But yet and still, I'm not going to call you insane. I'm not going to try to smear your reputation or none of these different things. I'm not going to do that. The only thing I would do is challenge these fabricated pro-black, black power teachings, and that, to me, not just to me, but it is a fact. What they have become is nothing but a replacement for the Christianity that you claim that you no longer believe in. The only thing you did was color Jesus black. What you have done is taken the same type of ideology and you turned it in a manner you can accept it, African and black. But when it's all said and done, it's still Christianity. The basis of it is still exactly the same. Wow. That's why you're loyal to it. Because you're spiritual. You're a believer in these gods. Instead of the Caucasian or pink God, now you turn to God black. You've taken all what you learned in these Christian teachings, these religions, and the only thing you did was create your own version of it and made it black. Even the political, you've turned black revolution and black liberation into a religion. So you go to church to these debates, nothing but church. Who's the best preacher? Is it Polite? Is it Sarah Sunseti? Is it Sinetta? Is it what's his name? Bashir? Whoever the preacher is. Is it Farrakhan? Black liberation, black revolution is not preaching. It is exactly what it's supposed to be, to liberate your mind. But instead of the liberation of your mind, you continue to enslave your mind, and you enslave your mind with a smile on your face because now the enslaver, his skin or her skin is black. Oh, wow. With that said, the subject of this insane person is real black nation builders. What does it really mean to build a nation? And you will see that what I just said, how it relates to this subject. So what I just said, you can actually blend that into the meat of our subject matter. Thousands, if not millions of descendants of slaves born in America having dark skin. Many of you claim and you have a desire and you talk about all the time you want to build a nation. Many of you claim or you support what is called black nationalism. I wonder, do we really know what that is? In fact, it already exists. Any country on this planet that's created, controlled by dark-skinned people, and you will call them black, they are in a country or a nation, that's black nationalism. So black nationalism in and of itself, it already exists. So what are you seeking? Go support it. Go find you a black nation, a country, and support it. It already exists. Of course, I know that's not what you really mean. You're not talking about that. But at the same time, you talk about Africa this, Africa that. Well, go to your Africa. Go to your black nation. Why are you staying here? Because deep down inside, you know you don't belong there. Deep down inside, you have no connection. Deep down inside, this is all that you know is America. Deep down inside, it is a great possibility that this is your original nation to begin with, not Africa. Not to say that some of our people did not come from that continent or were not originally from that continent, but we know that we have a connection right here. That's why you don't have no desire. Because if you really had that desire, if you really believe this African stuff, get up, get your pass, get your money, get on a plane or a boat, and go to your African nation. I don't see no mass exodus, all these thousands, millions of people talking all this Africa stuff. I don't see you going nowhere. You're laying up, going to the liquor store, sitting in front of a computer, talking about Africa this, Africa that. You really have no interest. It already exists. Malcolm X is known, and I heard that he is the father of black nationalism. I wonder if Malcolm X, did he really understand what black nationalism really is? Did he understand the process of building a black nation? Some of us say that the Nation of Islam represents the process of nation building. To a certain point it does, and to a certain point it doesn't. One thing that is for sure, if you build your nation based on a religion, you see the results right now all over the earth. Is that what you really want? Because if that's what you really want, you might as well just stay where you're at. To build your nation based on religious theology, your nation sooner or later is doomed to have some kind of problem. No nation should be built upon a religious base. So you go to a nation like Iraq, and the primary religion is Islam, but Islam has been split into all these different factions, and look what is going on in Iraq. Anywhere where there's religion, you find division, confusion, you find war and hate. Is that what you want to build your nation upon? Even in America, when you take the oath in court, there is religion influence in government. And government looks like hypocrites, because even in Christian theology, Christian teachings, it says in the Ten Commandments, thou shalt not kill. Who is one of the greatest murderers on the planet? The nation that we live in right now. That is not good to build your nation based on religious ideology, because it's filled with hypocrites, people who really don't believe in it. They have other intent. They want you to believe in it so that you can be more easily controlled. Why is the American Negro, why are the descendants of slaves born in America having dark skin? Why are you having a problem, difficulty building your nation? Well, you don't know the process. In building anything, the whatever you build is only as strong as the material that you use. In religious teachings, there is a building of the kingdom of heaven on earth. So there's a nation that this God wants to build on earth. So he or she, this God needs to find the best material for that task. So the God chooses a prophet, not just anybody from among the people. The God chooses a person who will be loyal, who can persevere, who has good character. Why? Because that prophet represents the beginning, the foundation of heaven on earth. In the Holy Quran, Allah chose the man we know of as Prophet Muhammad for this particular assignment. Although Prophet Muhammad was illiterate, but Prophet Muhammad possessed the good character that this God, who is supposed to represent righteousness, The prophet exhibits these characteristics that is needed because this is the ground floor of the nation building process, the kingdom of heaven on earth. Prophet Muhammad was said by many that he had very good qualities. He was very loyal to his friends. He could persevere. He could handle difficulty. Didn't spread gossip. He didn't lie. He didn't steal. There were so many good traits or attributes of Allah that was already in the Prophet Muhammad. So what we need to understand is that any nation, your nation begins with the people. Because that's really what it is. The nation is not the land, it's not the trees, it's not the soil. It is the people. Just like in religious teachings. The church is not the building. The church are the people. The church, the building is just a place where you can gather. The nation, the land is just a place where the people live. The nation, the country are the people themselves. So what kind of people are you, black man? What kind of people are you, black woman and children, at this time? What kind of foundation could you lay for your black nation? Well, it begins with the people. What kind of people are you? Well, even if you are Afrocentric, even if you are black conscious, black power, all this stuff that y'all come up with, even though you are all these things, what kind of people are you? Well, many of you are still drunks, weed smokers, dope fiends, y'all lie, you hate your own people. And I would give this as an example. I know a black nationalist. I know a person who calls themselves a black nationalist. They smoke weed every chance they get. They love wine. They love to get drunk. They live in a neighborhood with black people, but there's certain black people in the neighborhood they can't stand. They don't even try to get along. And I'm looking at why you don't get along with that black person. This person has done nothing to you, but they hate their guts. But this is a black person, and you talk about you want to build a black nation for black people, and you hate black people. And this person has done nothing to you, except they say took their parking space on the public street. When you are on the public street, you don't own a space. First come, first serve. But I hate this black person because they took my parking space. See, foolish nonsense. This is the type of mentality you are going to build a nation upon. You don't like the people that disagree with you, other black folks. You curse black people with death that disagree with you, or you think, or the people that don't do things your way. They black. What? I'm supposed to be insane. It sounds like y'all got the problem. I try to get along with everybody. I was in a mental institution, and all kinds of warped mentality was in that place, but I got along with everybody. But here I am when I come into so-called freedom, y'all got a problem getting along with people. How can the insane people get along, but the so-called sane, you can't? Something is wrong here. Y'all nasty. You run around and you suck penis and you lick vagina. Disgusting, foul, and freaks. That's what you become. You black power freaks. You exhibit disgusting behavior. And you want to build a nation. A nation of what? What kind of nation you going to build? people are the nation. And when you're building anything, you must use the best and the strongest material, what I have just described. And it is among so many of us. What kind of nation will you build with this type of behavior and thinking? You might as well stay where you're at. The only difference in your nation, if you are ever able to pull this off, the only difference between you and the United Snakes of America would be the fact that the oppressor, because you will oppress the citizens, there's no doubt about that. The only thing you did was change the skin color of your oppressor, where at one time the oppressor had pink skin or Caucasian skin, now the oppressor has dark skin. The United Snakes of America was built on racism. It continues today. Although the forefathers long dead, the babies carry the same behaviors. That's because racism was at the very foundation of the building of this country. Hatred of dark-skinned people, it continues today because it was the foundation that started it all off to begin with. The forefathers of this nation love whiskey, they love to get drunk, they love to smoke tobacco, and they continue these behaviors till this day. Although there's a church on that corner, there's a church on that corner, there's a mosque on that corner, there's a synagogue on that corner, the people still carry these type of behaviors because it's in the very foundation of the building of this nation. So all these nasty, foul, insane behaviors that we have, I just described, you don't want to change yourself. You don't want to do no better. That is the future of your nation. Might as well stay where you're at. Might as well stay where we're at. So the first step in building a strong nation is to create a strong individual person that has the traits where we don't gossip, we don't lie, we don't steal, we have good qualities in ourselves. And you see this in how the devils describe your brother in those reports. I don't have to lie to you. When I get time, little by little, I might begin to post a lot of that material for free so that you can see for yourself. I don't have to lie to you. And also, I have done nothing or said nothing that should make anybody believe that I am some criminal. I don't steal from nobody. I don't run around trying to lie on people. I don't do those things. I am capable of error, and I try to, I apologize, and I try to heal the hurt that I caused. So the first step in nation building is building yourself as an individual. Now, the second step, here we are talking about building a nation. Okay, how can you build a nation building, when you have not even built a neighborhood? We keep talking about the black community. Many black people don't even know their neighbor next door, across the street. They don't know the children in the neighborhood. They don't even know the dog in the neighborhood. You don't know anything. How are you going to create a nation and you have not created a neighborhood? Know who your neighbor is. Watch out for your neighbor. Neighbors take care of one another. There should be no children in the community that has to go to an orphanage. When there are children who need to be adopted, that community should embrace those babies, but you don't. Then you talk about how they are mistreated by other people when they are adopted by Caucasian people or homosexuals or whomever, and pedophiles. You know, the pedophiles are going to get our children. But you don't even do it. Some of you won't even adopt your blood relatives. But you're going to build a nation. You have plenty money. You have plenty room in your house. And you don't do nothing for nobody. You're only looking out for self. A selfish person cannot build a nation. You're not a nation builder. Because it takes a lot of sacrifice. It takes a lot of love for your brother and sister, everybody involved in the nation building process. And y'all not ready because you're filled with self-hatred. You really don't love black people. You're a liar. You know why? Because you are like Lot's wife, who was told not to look at Sodom and Gomorrah when God decided to destroy those cities in the scriptures. There is something about America. There's something about all this that you like. You don't want to change yourself because you like being a nigger. You like being a Sambo. You like being this thing. So from up out of neighborhoods come towns. And from up out of towns, you build cities. Look at the history of America. This is the process. They started off as a colony where they knew their neighbors. It turns into towns, and towns turn to cities. It all begins with the foundation, how strong the neighborhood and the town and the city is going to be. Because that's just a place. The people are the neighborhood. The people are the town. The people are the city. And the city turns into a state. When you go out west toward Utah and some of those places, a lot of it is controlled by the Mormons. That's what they done. Neighbor, town, and city. And then they took over the state and created a state. And after you become a state turns into a country. Wasn't it called the state of Israel first? Before now it's being called like the nation of Israel or whatever. I think they still call it the state of Israel, but you have to become like a statehood. And then you turn into a nation or a country. That's the process. So in conclusion, let me say these few things to us. A strong nation cannot be built based on black, because black comes from out of racism. And we are more than black. There is nowhere in history where dark-skinned people were calling themselves black or African. African describes many different countries on a continent. You don't see that in Europe. You don't see Caucasian people here talk about Europe this and Europe that. They are Americans. Although they came from this place called Europe. You must have a national identity if you're going to build a country or a nation. And it doesn't matter if you believe you are of Kemet, or you're a black Muslim, or you're a Hebrew Israelite, or a black Christian, or a black atheist. It does not matter what you call yourself. But within the nation, you have to have a national identity. You can go ahead and remain confused in what you think that you are. But when you build a nation, that nation must have to have an identity. And if it's a black nation, then you're saying that the nation belongs to black people. So that means that you can be of Kemet, or you're a black Muslim, or a Hebrew Israelite, or atheist, or a black homosexual, or whatever that you are. This is for black people and a black nation. So you need a national identity. And I have a suggestion for us. And it's not something that I made up. So you can't say, I don't want to be called by nothing you make up. Who is you? You ain't nobody. True. So what I suggest to us, to give our nation and our people a strong foundation, is something that belongs to us that we've already used. And clearly it has some kind of strength, it has some kind of power, because there was an effort to destroy it. Because you're still black, you're an African American, but there was an effort to destroy this description of us. Why? I suggest to us that we do find an African name or a Native American name, which I feel is us too. I feel as though, as I continue my study into the subject matter, that chances are we were also the original Native Americans here, but we were declassified and put into these categories. But we should find an African description or a Native American description for the people of soul. Remember at one time we called ourselves, soul brothers and sisters? Don't you remember that? That wasn't that long ago. In the 70s, during the height of the Black Power Revolution period. Remember Soul Train. That's why I call myself the mighty. Angel Snuffing Up 7. That comes from Soul Train. When Don Cornelius used to introduce the guests on Soul Train, he would say, "Welcome everybody. Bring to the stage the mighty OJs. Bring to the stage the mighty Jackson 5. Soul Train. Soul brother number 1. Soul sister number 1. Remember, soul, not black power, soul power. Soul power takes us beyond black, takes us beyond the skin. Because black is nothing but a representation of the flesh, but the soul gives the flesh life. That's us. Remember James Brown, godfather of soul. Remember Aretha Franklin, she's the godmother of soul. But then that was taken away from us. So now James Brown is what? The godfather of something that no longer exists. Now Aretha Franklin is the godmother of something that no longer exists. The racists made an effort to take our soul from us. And we can go back to religious teaching. What is it in religious teaching that the devil wants from the people? Woo! The devil wants your soul. And then after our soul was taken from us, haven't you noticed how the black community, black people, the descendants of slaves born in America, not because of the single family, black women raising children in a single family, all these different things that y'all come up with to explain why the black community began to go down. It began to go down after we stopped using and view ourselves as soul brothers and sisters. Because black was nice, but when we saw ourselves as people of soul, there was no place on the planet when you talk about soul people, people of the soul. There were no people of the soul in Africa, in Asia or Europe, nowhere. When you think about the people of soul, you thought about the American black people, the descendants of slaves born in America having dark skin. Nobody else could claim that title. That belongs to us, even till this day, but we don't use it because we sold ourselves and gave our soul to devils. And so now we become racist like them, and now it's a black thing. Because we copying our slave master. It's a white thing. White supremacy. So now it's black supremacy. Soul has nothing to do with racism. Soul is your connection to the universe. Soul is the essence of life. So even as a slave, we could go out in the field and work from sun up to sundown, and we still found a way to be happy, because soul is the essence of life. So no matter if we are millionaires or we are drunks on the street, when we as a soul people, when you found us, the drunk always had a smile on his face. And we had a smile on our face, of course, when we are in better condition. But we were not materialistic, because it made no difference where you found us in life, we were happy. Which is also bad for us, because when you are under pressure, you really need to stop being so happy. You need to get up out from under this injustice and this oppression. But that's just who we are. We are soul people. And when you hear that description, it easily sounds like it comes from up out of African or Native American culture. Easily. Who are we? We are the people of soul. Soul power. I want my soul brother back. I want my soul sister back. And when we were soul people, we didn't treat ourselves like the way that we do today. Because we get upset because I don't want to be black. So you can be a Christian. I'm pretty sure Jesse Lee Peterson and many of the other brothers and sisters out there, they wouldn't mind being called soul. Because you can be an American, but still be a soul brother and sister. It has nothing to do with racial identity at all. We are the people, as religions say, we are the people of the living God. The God that blew life into clay, as the Quran says. So we need to build our nation on a strong foundation. What is more stronger than building your nation based in life? The love of life, the essence of life. And out of, where does that life come from? It comes from out of the universe. And the universe is much more than Africa. The universe is much more than the earth itself. The universe is a connection to all that which is out there that we can get to know. That's who we are. That's what we are. So what is it? What will your reward be if you follow these steps the way that I explained? And this is not going to be an overnight transformation, because we live in filth. Some of us have grown to love filth. Some of us have grown to love being nasty. And some of us will never shake that off. But that does not mean that you have to pass that on to your children. That does not mean we have to pass that on to our babies. We ourselves may never get clean, but we can direct our children and try to live better so that we would be a better example to our babies. So as they go on into the future, they will start cleaning some of this stuff off of us. And all these things that y'all talk about, much of this, in fact, all of it will disappear because the cause will no longer exist. So you don't have to worry about homosexuality and dope addicts and pedophiles and all these different things, because the direction that your strong nation is going, eventually all this will slowly disappear. Because as our babies are going into the future, they'll be cleaning themselves off little by little, staying on a strong foundation that you and I left them. So unlike the races, the foundation of their nation was racism, and racism is still alive in the country today, unlike what happened to the United Snakes of America. Your and our people's situation would be different because the mentality would be different. The mindset is different. The behavior is different. So you will get a different result. And what is the result? What is the result that we're going to get for our good behavior, for our righteous behavior? It will be what the scriptures talk about. The soul will be given eternal life, this heaven on earth. That's the way that it's described in Christian teaching when it talks about heaven. Talks about how green the grass is and the milk that flows and all these beautiful things that talks about, try to describe heaven. That's right here on earth. And it talks about it's in you, but it cannot come up out of you until you get your soul back from the devil. And when that mentality change, heaven that comes into your mind, your hands will build that heaven. It's not going to come out the sky, just like the hell you are in that was built by men with an evil mindset. Heaven can be built by men and women and children with a righteous mindset. And this is coming from somebody who does not acknowledge the existence of God, but I understand the importance of a righteous mentality. So we need to keep it real. And as time goes on, all these fabricated things that y'all talk about, you'll start off that way, but reality will hit you and you will see that that's not necessary. It's not real. You will begin to love life as it is. You don't have to fabricate or believe in nothing because you will be living it. Just keeping it real. That's another word that we don't use anymore. Keeping it real. Let's get real. Let's get our soul back. Let's keep it real. And let's begin the process to build a real nation, not just a black nation, but a nation that will be an example for the people of the world so that heaven can come into existence on the earth. Thank you for listening. This is your brother, Taalik Ibn'rad. This was and is the Reality's Temple on Earth Internet Ministry. Jot down your comments, subscribe, spread this video, and let's get this job done for the sake of not only ourselves, but our future generations.